Students, today we'll be talking about balancing of equation. As I told you before also, this is a very important part, balancing an equation. In exam, you have questions where they give you, like an equation they will ask you to balance. That may be a part of a question. And apart from that, any equation for any answer you put in the exam, it has to be a balanced equation. We cannot put an unbalanced equation in our answers. When you will ask us for balancing an equation, the question may be of two ways. One is they may give us the chemical equation and then they may ask us to balance it. Like it is given hydrogen gas plus chlorine gas gives HCl, that is hydrogen chloride or hydrochloric acid. So this may be a question. Or sometimes they may give us the word equation. This is called a word equation. In the word equation, they will give hydrogen plus chlorine gives hydrogen chloride. What we have to do is, we have to change the word equation into our chemical equation using symbols and formulae, and then we have to balance it. First of all, we will learn directly the balancing of the equations which will be given to us. We will not go for the word equation. Once our balancing is clear, then only we'll be going for the word equations, convert it into chemical equations, and then we'll balance those also. Balancing don't have any hard and fast rule. It's like a hit and trial method. We try it. If it is not coming out, again we'll put another number. But again, there are some small tricks which we can follow to make our balancing easy. As I told you, this is the first time you are doing balancing an equation. It may take a little time, but once you get adjusted to the balancing, it becomes very easy for us. I'll show you many examples. I'll start with the first example, where you have seen the reactant side, it's given H2 plus Cl2 gives HCl. If you see on the reactant side, there are two hydrogen, but if you compare it on the product side, there is only one hydrogen. Again, chlorine, there are two. This chlorine, only one chlorine. Now we need to balance it. Whenever we balance a chemical equation, we can put the number only in front of the compound or the molecule or the atom which is given to us. Now how to do this balancing, if you see. Here I have put a 2 in front of the product HCl. Now this 2 which I have put in front of HCl, the 2 is applicable for hydrogen also. This 2 is applicable for chlorine also. The number which you put in front, that number is applicable for all the atoms which are present there. So now if I now compare hydrogen on the reactant side, there are 2 hydrogen. On the product side also there are 2. Chlorine on the reactant side, it's 2. Chlorine on the product side also 2. And this is one of a very simple balancing. Our balancing is done. And we are done with the balancing. Now let's pay attention to this equation. It's given here sodium. Sodium is a metal. Earlier also I told you in my earlier videos that when we are taking a metal, it is always in the monoatomic form, single atom. Sodium is only Na. We cannot write Na2, Na3. Any metal like magnesium, only Mg. Zinc, only Zn. So sodium plus water, H2O, gives us NaOH. Now if you recall the first table of ions which we learned, Na means sodium, OH means hydroxide. So it is forming sodium hydroxide plus H2, hydrogen gas. Okay. Now when this one is a one where we have to use a small trick. If you see on the reactant side, sodium is 1. Product side also, there is only 1 sodium. Come back to the reactant side, there are 2 hydrogen. On the product side, there are total of 3 hydrogens. 1 here, another 2 here. Total 2 plus 1, 3. And oxygen 1. Okay, so our problem is only with hydrogen which is not balanced. Now, a small trick let me give you here. Whenever you find that any of the atoms on the reactant side it is even and product side it is odd, or vice versa. Product side it is even, reactant side it's odd. try to make the odd one even. Like here, the odd one is NaOH. The single hydrogen which is there is making it odd. So we will try to make the odd even. So while trying to make the odd even, I'm putting a 2 here. Now see here. Now if you again compare sodium 1, but now on our product side there are 2 sodium. As I told you, this 2 will be applicable for sodium also, oxygen also, hydrogen also. Fine. Now there are 2 sodium, but in our reactant side there is only 1 sodium. Let's put a 2 here. So both the sides sodium is balanced. Now oxygen also 2, and hydrogen, if you see, 2 plus 2, it's 4. This 2 here, another 2 here, 2 plus 2, it's 4. Now I have to make this hydrogen 4. How to do this? Already 2 is there. I'll put another 2. This 2 and this 2, we'll find a product, multiply. 2 2s are 4. So 2 2s are 4. Hydrogen is balanced, and this 2 will make the oxygen 2. This 2 will make the oxygen 2, and our equation is balanced. As I told you, it's a heat and trial method. We have to keep on trying. We'll heat it, we'll try. Only the thing is a small tips, like just tip which I gave you just now. If it is odd on one side, try to make the odd even. This is next example. Now let's take the third example. Here is an equation where it's given CH4. CH4 is actually something called methane. Methane is a hydrocarbon. You will get in a carbon compound chapter 4 of chemistry. You may note this down because from the formula we cannot get the name. You have to know that methane is CH4. Okay. So methane plus O2 means methane is burning. It is giving carbon dioxide and water. Now, if you see or compare both the side, the reactant side and the product side, carbon on the reactant side, it's 1 with methane. And here carbon on the product side, it's 1. Again, carbon is okay. Hydrogen 4. But if you see on the reactant side, hydrogen 2. Let's not do anything till we see oxygen. Oxygen is 2, even number only. If you compare the oxygen on the product side, there are 2 oxygens with carbon and there is only 1 oxygen with hydrogen, which means there are odd number and even number again. How it is becoming odd? Because in the product side, this 1 oxygen is making the whole thing odd. 2 plus 1, 3. So what we need to do now, we have to make the odd even. So we will put a 2 in front of it. As soon as we put a 2 in front of the odd one, now see on the product side, 2 oxygen from carbon dioxide, 2 oxygen from water, 2 plus 2, oxygen 4. Now come to the reactant side, I have only 2 oxygen. To make it 4, I'll put a 2 here. Oxygen 4, fine. Hydrogen was already 4 here. Hydrogen becomes 4 on the product side also. 4 hydrogen, and this is 4 hydrogen, carbon is 1, and it's matching, and it is done. So this example, H2, hydrogen gas, plus N2, nitrogen gas, is forming ammonia, NH3. I think this one will be easier for you now because we have already done 2 of the examples, similar examples. Hydrogen gas, it's 2 on the reactant side. Product side, there are 3. Nitrogen 2 and product side, it's 1. Let's make the odd even by putting a 2 here. When I put the 2 here in front, as I told you, whatever you put in the front and whatever number is beneath that particular atom, we have to multiply. Nitrogen 2 only. So nitrogen is 2 in this side also. Hydrogen 2 multiplied by 3. This 2 you multiply with this 3. 2 3s are 6. Hydrogen 6. Hydrogen, I have to make this hydrogen 6. To make it 6, I'll put a 3 here. 3 2s are 6. And see, our equation is balanced. This is the last example I would like to show for now, for today. Now this is a little lengthy one and it is a little tricky. Why? First of all, it is HNO3. It's nitric acid. Nitric acid is combining with calcium hydroxide. OH is a hydroxide group. So in the reactant side, we have nitric acid and calcium hydroxide. It is combining with calcium nitrate. NO3 is a nitrate group. Calcium nitrate plus water. Now hydrogen, this is one hydrogen. Now when it's in a bracket, outside the bracket, this is 2, means this 2 is applicable for this O also, this 2 is applicable for this H also. Okay. And NO3 is a group. And if you see on the reactant side also, the group is as NO3 only. And in the product side also, the group is as NO3. Sometimes it may happen that the same, suppose a group is there on the reactant side. In the product side, the group may not remain as it is. Like OH is a group here, but we don't have any group because that group has combined and we have got a new product. But now see, as NO3 is in the form of a group, if you see there are 2 NO3s and here there is only one NO3, only NO3. So let's try to make the whole group 2 for balancing. I'm putting a 2 here. Fine. Now as soon as you put 2 there, this hydrogen becomes 2. This hydrogen also becomes 2. 2 and 2, it's 4. But I have only 2 hydrogen here. Let's make it 2 to the 4. Fine. Hydrogen balance. Nitrate group is balanced. Calcium 1, calcium 1. Let's check for oxygen. Now don't check for this oxygen because this is already in a nitrate group which we have calculated out. Check only for this oxygen. There are 2 oxygens here. We here have 2 oxygen. If you see, this is balanced. 2HNO3 plus CaOH2 gives CaNO3 whole thing twice plus 2H2.